A lot of people don't want to have children. They say things about how they don't behave well. They have no respect, no values. I think people forget the fact that children are a product of their parents. So when you have parents who don't show respect, they don't have values, they don't have morals, anything goes, they want to be out in the streets, they want to be outside, then you can't really blame children for acting the same way. What is going on, everyone's? We are here and we are back with another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I am Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stocker.
And before we get into it, we want to say thank you to everyone who continues to rock with us. We will continue to rock with y'all. And if you get any value from our content, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, because the conversation that we have here on Is My Point is a conversation that need to be had. Forget all that fun and games. It's about serious business here. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this episode. So the topic for today is going to be
F those kids.
Yes, goodness. We've been getting a lot of feedback about the topic of children, and a lot of people don't want to have children. They say things about how children are so they don't behave well. They have no respect, no values, no anything. So I think people forget the fact that children are a product of their parents. So when you have parents who don't show respect, they don't have values, they don't have morals, anything goes, they want to be out in the streets, they want to be outside, then you can't really blame children for acting the same way. So I think we need to start holding parents accountable for their actions and stop always pointing the finger at the children, because they only do what they're seeing. They only do what they're being taught. And that is something that falls on the shoulders of parents.
Yeah, it does. But so one of the points that kind of was made, that children behave a certain way because of parents. That's true to an extent, because you have children who have friends who they're around, and so they'll imitate what they see and bring it into the home. And if it's not corrected, then it continues, right? And so I think a lot of parents today, especially like the millennials, of course we are millennials, we don't want to, and I always say this, we don't want to treat our children how our parents treated us, right? We feel that our parents were very tough on us, or we got whoopings. We don't want to
treat our children the same, because we felt like there was something wrong with how we were being taught.
Right. There was some people who were beat, right? I can't.
I was beat.
But I'm saying, I
got whooped.
That's what I think. Whooped. Beating and whooping, that is two separate things.
Like, I used to think my dad got pleasure out of it, but I don't really think there was pleasure. And I think it was just a reaction to the action.
And so today, us millennials, as parents, we don't want to go overboard, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to whoop. We want to gentle parent. We want to talk to our child like they have some daggone sense. But half of these children do not have no doggone sense to want to have, the conversation. And if you are having conversations, you have to continuously have those conversations in their ear every day, and making sure that what you are saying is bond or is word, This is what I'm saying. I'm not going to lead you astray. And if if you're presenting yourself as not being fully available, they can run over you.
Absolutely. I think parenting is a full-time job. You can't go part-time with parenting. And I think that's one of the reasons that with the T.I. and King situation, I think that T.I. was a part-time parent. He only aside from the fact that he was an entertainer, he wasn't really there as much as he would like to have been. I feel as though he was not always the parent that he should have been. So when I say that, I mean everybody seen the whole argument they had at the Atlanta Falcons game, and prior to that, they were saying how King would hold his breath and all kind of stuff to get to go to his grandmother's house. Sometimes you got to let your child hold their breath and pass out. And that will be considered, in that instance, that would be considered parenting, because I'm not going to let you do what you feel is going to make me going to encourage me to call certain shots. I'm the parent, you're the child, and nothing that you can do is going to make me sway away from my parenting, because I know in the long run, your life is dependent on how I bring you up. And now they're wreaking all of the backlash of not really being active parents, and you can see it because King, the way he talks, the way he acts, like, bro, you were privileged. No matter if you were at your grandmother's house, at your father's house, whoever house you was at, you still had access. You still had resources. So if you chose to go in the hood and not use those resources like you should have, then that doesn't make you hood. Because you still had that available to you. You just chose not to use it because of some mindset that you've seen, that you fabricated, or some lifestyle that you've seen that you thought was more desirable for you based on the things that were outside of the home and the life that T.I. actually lived when he was younger. They provided a very good life for them. Regardless of if he was at his mama's house or his grandma's house or whatever, the resources were there. So you can't really say that you are this, I stand on business and all that other foolishness that he's saying, because at the end of the day, T.I. is a celebrity, a millionaire. Tiny is a millionaire, and you have two millionaire parents. I don't understand why people want to be hood and want to be ghetto so bad. Is it because of what they're seeing? And that goes into the whole hip hop thing. Are these children taking the words of artists and the culture over their parenting, over their parents' parenting?
So with King, because I don't really feel no type of way, but I see both sides, right? I see both sides of it, because we are hollering about he's not hood. We don't know where that boy lived. Like, honest to goodness, we don't know where he lived. Now, you can go off what his parents are saying. You not hood, but they are also saying you weren't in my household. So, he may not be hood, but he wasn't in that suburban household with them. He was at wherever grandma lived. So the fact that they're
saying that he's not hood, that is factual.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. They're saying he's not hood. But here goes that. But he was not in the suburban area of where they live.
But like I said, he still had access to that world. He just chose not to use it.
And so it's not his fault that he didn't choose not to use it. It's his grandma and his parents. And his parents are the ultimate, are the top, which they should have said what you said. If he's holding his breath or whatever, it should have been a thing of, get off of them personally, right? I am not sending my daughters to go stay with my mama in the neighborhood, and not even her neighborhood, but in the area that she lives in. And I know that the area that I live in is two different situations. Not saying it's a bad neighborhood, right? But there are some things that could go down.
And we don't even know if his grandmother lived in a hood neighborhood.
Right.
It could have been just less than what they were doing before.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. We'll never know. So this narrative or whatever, they are saying, he's saying he stand on business. They're saying you're not even But what I'm seeing is y'all weren't available to him when he really needed y'all. And so right now y'all are saying, this is not you. But where were you when you needed to be saying this is not you?
I believe.
And then when he was a child, when he was saying things or whatever, it was on television. They were trying to reprimand him on television. Yeah. You had 3 women from the clip I saw. You had 3 women coddling him, and then you had a man, his daddy, talking about don't coddle him, let him go off and be a man. But you still had 3 women influencing a man child, a man child. And T.I., in my opinion, did not. And plus, it's just clips. It's what we're seeing. We don't know. So that's why I'm saying, if I am not going, I don't care if my daughters hold their breath because they want to see their grandmother. No, I am your parent. What I say goes, because grandma ain't gonna raise you the way she raised me. Yeah. That's point blank, period.
And we live in different times.
Two different things.
If my daddy was a parent today, he'd be in a lot of trouble.
Like this.
If he even tried it with my nephews, and it caught them so off guard that they didn't even know what to do. But my daddy was a strict military man. He whooped us. He made us do exercise. There was a lot of restrictions in the household when he was around. So I don't think that. So
it was discipline, and that's what is missing today. There is no discipline.
Absolutely.
To go back to King, he did not have discipline. He knew as a child, as grown people, if I play a role, I can get what I want. Yeah. They're going to tell me, yes, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hold my breath. We keep saying hold his breath because that was what I'm going to cry, whatever. Yeah. This is what I can do because I know eventually I'm going to get on their nerves and they're going to say, all right, go ahead. Right?
Then that goes back into that they weren't always there to actually be on top of things.
Like, just go ahead and do it. And I get it because sometimes as a parent, you don't want to fool with things. You do want to just, oh my goodness, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not things of like, okay, yeah, we're just going to take you to your grandma's house. No, because I know me and my mother do things completely different.
Completely different, yeah.
Completely different.
And they knew that in their situation.
Right. And the girls know this as well. They know. Well, mommy ain't gonna go for it, but grandma probably will. My auntie probably will.
Speaking of that, I lived with my grandmother for like 2 years. I knew the things that I was doing at my grandmother's house wouldn't fly with my daddy.
See?
I knew this for a fact.
See?
Like, we were basically living on our own, doing our own thing, staying out all times of night, doing what we wanted to, whatever. And my grandmother really didn't have the energy to discipline like she did her children.
Because that's not her job.
That's not her job. And then I don't really think she thought that she was in that position at the time. Like, when I went to my grandmother's house, I was maybe 18, 19, 20. So she probably figured that the discipline that I previously learned would carry over. But children work like this. No matter how much they learn prior, they will adopt new standards of living based on who is overseeing them. So that's why we say parenting is a full-time job. You never stop parenting. Ever. They don't matter if they're 19, 20, 29, 50. You're still going to have to be a parent to your children because they're going to find ways to kind of weasel out of that mindset of being overseen. So just to touch back on the King situation, I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball. They weren't always there, weren't always available to him, even if they just let him kind of do his thing. Mm-hmm. And That's going on with a lot of parents these days. And that's why children act so disrespectful, because parents are not treating parenting as a full-time job. Most of the parents around today have a full-time job, so they don't want to come home and work some more. It's like, I'm tired, do what you do, just let me be. And that is not parenting. That is just babysitting. Because if at a babysitter just makes sure you don't die. Basically, it's not really discipline they'll tell you don't do this, don't do that, but there's really no consequences. And that's where with my grandmother, I knew I was doing wrong, but there were no consequences. There was no fear of any consequences, and that's what's happening today. There's no fear. Even when there is a little bit of fear, most of the time the fear comes from the father. And if you don't have a father in the home, once a child gets to a certain age, there's not much a mother can do. So they're gonna go and just do whatever they feel, whatever they want at any time. And that, like I say, that's what's going on today. That's why children are so, man, children are just the most disrespectful people that I've seen in a long time. They have no remorse for the things that they do. They just out here doing stuff.
How can you be remorseful when your parent isn't showing you remorse?
Yeah.
How can you be loving when your parent isn't showing you love?
Yeah.
How can you be caring when your parent isn't showing you caring? How can you be those things when your parent is exuding, listening to the rap music, listening to all this stuff?
The hip hop,
allowing you to be on a game all hours of the night, allowing you to do whatever it is, allowing your parent not there and you off doing who knows what.
Yeah.
Like these things, and it's just it's because it's easy. I don't have to look at it. Whatever. And then when a child opens their mouths and they say something that you don't like, the first thing you want to say is, "Why are you disrespecting me?" Well, first off, you're not having a conversation. And then the first thing, that
would be the second thing. You said the first thing first.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. That parents will try to discipline by putting hands on, trying to fight and all this other stuff. But you haven't had a conversation as to why you upset with their behavior.
Yeah. So they have no understanding.
They have no freaking understanding of why. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've
done this before, and there was no
nothing.
problem.
I've been doing this, so I'm not even doing anything. And you're not acknowledging the behavior, and so when you get tired of it. What I've been doing this. This is who I am. People say this is who I am. Like this is like we grown-ups. We have to act like grown-ups, right? And like, what does that mean? It just means being the person, being who you. How do I want to word this? Treating people how you want to be treated.
And I used to have a problem with that. The whole treating people how you want to be treated. For a long time, I was treating people accordingly. Like a lot of people will not treat you how they want to be treated. So I treat people on a case by case basis. There's no one size fits all as far as how I treat people. If you treat me with respect, I give you respect. If you treat me like a-hole, then I'm gonna give you that same energy. So I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just how I operate.
Excuse me. I think it's wrong because you're supposed to treat. It's something in the Bible to say it. Can I place my hand on it right now? No, I cannot. Oh my gosh, shocking! I can't place my. I don't have the verse. Huh. I can't place my hand on it, but. You are supposed to be this individual of treating people how you want to be treated. And of course it's hard. We're human, that's a difficult task.
Especially if somebody's treating you sideways. Yeah. It's kind of hard to treat them nicely when they're treating you just disrespectful.
Right. But and I think that goes back to like I'm saying about our parents. They didn't want, because of how they grew up, they were, if they were disrespectful, they were reprimanded. And so it's a trickle down effect. What do people talk about? Generational curses. And people think that generational curses just exist with money. And that's not what it is.
I wish there was a such thing as generational discipline.
How are we speaking life into, right? Because today there are a lot of people our age, which we range in different ages, who are upset with their parents because of what was said, what was done.
And they still live with that today after 20 years.
Still living with that today.
Never had the conversation.
Maybe I've had the conversation, but it hasn't been any real forgiveness. I'm going to say that much. It hasn't really been any real forgiveness. Now, when you forgive, you don't forget. But when you forgive, you're not supposed to keep bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up. You let it go and you keep moving forward. But with that, I was talking about generational curses. It continues. The cycle continues. You're like, oh, I'm over this, but you continue to treat your child that way, and eventually your child is going to do the same thing. This is how I was raised, and this is what I'm going to do. I don't care what society says. And sometimes I think you do have to look at society and be like, wait a minute. Yeah. Maybe what I'm doing is a little, is a bit much. It's a bit much. Now, I don't agree with everything society says, but you have to look at things and how times are changing. Yeah. The children that I've birthed are not who I was when I was a child, right? Who the person who my mama birthed, I wasn't who she was.
It's almost like generational context.
You gotta.
We're just making up stuff. But yeah.
Put that in the dictionary.
Sense. That makes sense though. Like you got to look at the times and what's going on around you. And even though you don't let that influence you, it kind of has a little bit of you kind of look at that to base your decisions.
You have to. Yeah. You must. For me, I think it is a must. Of course, I'm going to take in some of the things. There is a lot of things, if you look at my parenting, where I've gotten from Amanda. Mm-hmm. You can see it. I will even say, girl, this is you. I will, I'd like to tell stories and all that. Yeah. But I also have a lot of what Camille needs to do. And I'm not a gentle parent, but I'm going to have a conversation with you and I'm going to fuss at you. But I always come back and show you some type of compassion and some type of love for you to understand. And that's what
that it came from a good place.
That it came I may have said it wrong. Yeah. I meant
what I said, but I don't mean how I said it.
Right. That. Yeah. And so, I think today these children need that a lot more.
They need a lot more tough love.
They do need a lot more tough love, but they need, and for growing up, for me, it was really you don't explain anything to a child. It was, this is what it said, you do it. Yeah. I said it, you go do it. Mm-hmm. That's it, complete.
But that may have been a flaw within our parents.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, because like you said, you'll beat a child and a child won't know what they're getting beat for, so there's no correction. It's just, all right, I know I did that. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why you whooped me for it, but maybe if I do it a little different this time, I won't get in trouble for it.
There's no correction. And if there's no correction, there's no understanding, there's no correction, there's no nothing. And so you go out, these children are going out and they're seeing this behavior and then they're doing this behavior. Mm-hmm. And then the parent does not know where this behavior is coming from because parents are not.
They're not full time.
They're not full time, and they're not having conversations with other parents, or really knowing who their children are around
or associated with. Just you remember back in the day, our parents, like if you wanted to spend the night at somebody's house,
that wasn't an option for me.
All right. So back in the day, if we had a friend and we wanted to stay the night at their house, my daddy needed to know their mama. He needed to know their daddy, where they come from. He needed to have a conversation with them, and he needed to know exactly where they stayed at in order for us to be able to go over there. Now, these days, if a child tells a parent, we're having a sleepover, okay, go ahead. I'm like, whoa. Like the people that used to live down the street. Yeah. The girls. Mm-hmm. Their parents just let them just come over here. We never met them before, never seen them before outside of riding by the house. They never came over and introduced themselves, but our daughters played with their daughters all the time.
I'm going to be petty. We walked by
and they still
ain't say nothing. Back turn. So anyhow, but and
that was a no-go when I was younger.
And so I was steady looking, and I was like, yoo-hoo. And
hey, can
nothing.
You see?
And it was
like we was invisible.
But you were able to send your daughters here, although I'm sitting out front. You trust me that much? Because I don't trust you.
I don't. And I ain't letting my children go down there either to your house. They can come over here if they want to. Ain't nothing going to happen to them under our watch. But I don't trust you the same way.
So that was interesting.
I don't trust many people like that to have exactly. Especially say there's a lot of layers to that we ain't gonna get into. But it was a thing of we need to know who their parents are. We need to know the type of people they are. And these days, parents don't know who their children are associating with.
When the girls were in school, Isabel's classmate, his mom, the little boy's mom saw that I stayed at home, right? And so she worked, and so she was trying to figure out, can you pick him up from daycare? And I was like, that's a lot, right? Like
straight up,
that's a lot.
Why would you put that
and
on somebody? And
so it was kind of like, you want me to take your child and place them in my vehicle and take them down the street, and you don't really know me like that? You just know that our children are in the same class.
I know I got a kind face.
I do.
But a lot of people who do terrible things have kind faces.
And I talked to her, and she wasn't she wasn't American, so her English was broken and everything.
You said she wasn't a fool?
I was going to say she wasn't a full American, but she was not American.
Okay. I thought you said she wasn't a fool.
She wasn't American. So
like
her English was broken, but she needed to get to work, and she needed to know that her child got there. And I guess it was going to be a thing of, well, Mrs. Stalker was going to get my child there, and I would know my child is there because they're going to contact me and all. I was like, I can't do that one.
That's a bit much.
I can't do that. I was just like, you want me to put your child in my vehicle? Like, you trust me that much?
On some random. Because
anything could happen. Like, anything. I'm not going to.
You don't know how I drive.
Nothing.
You don't know.
You trust me. Like, I mean, of course, I'm not going to do. Look, I don't know if y'all watched enough episodes to know how I feel about children. Like, that is my weak point. And when I say my weak point, I just want to protect children. I just want to.
Even if they ain't yours.
If they're not mine, I just want them to open their minds and think. I want them to be the brightest people in the whole wide world. I want them to
protect their innocence.
I do want to protect their innocence. Yeah. And it's just, I feel like I can only do so much because I don't ever want to overstep my bound with anybody's child, right? Ever. Because I don't want somebody to say, well, I mean, I'm not going to be a bad influence, but I don't want anybody, you learned that from her. And I just, it just.
That's kind of why we stay away from family members and their children as well.
Like, you just like no.
I don't want to, like you say, we don't want to overstep our boundaries and have them learning things that their parents, it's not that they won't agree with it. It's just maybe a little bit too much. The standards may be too high for them.
Oh my God.
To succeed.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
But what I am saying is I don't want to overstep my bounds and be like, I just don't want to overstep my bounds because my intentions are
pure.
Seriously. They really are. Yeah. I feel that for a lot of children. I don't like we were talking about the neighbors, the little girls who were coming over and everything. It was a point where one of the children was trying to be ugly, and I said something, and I can't remember what she said.
That little one didn't have any home training, and
so it bothered me because you thought I was going to sit here and I wasn't going to say nothing because I'm not a big talker. I'm not whatever.
All in my face.
If children gonna be outside and play. Go ahead, do whatever. Be children. Yeah. But what you're not gonna do, you're not gonna put your hands in people's faces, and I'm gonna call you little butt out. Like that is. And so a part of me was kind of like, okay, I've said this. Is she gonna go home and say anything now? and your parents haven't introduced themselves, so they gonna come try and pick a fight with me. Look, this is what your child did. Now if they can't do whatever I'm saying,
goodbye.
Keep on.
See
Like that's
later.
like, but I would do everything in my power to protect any child.
Yeah. I think that's a lost value in the world today within parenting. Like, we need to get back to OG parenting.
Right and wrong. And we see a lot of wrongs being done and it's not being corrected. Like, once again, like, I guess I'm just repeating myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to get back to old school.
We need OG parenting like they used to do back in the day. Sometimes you got to whip that behind.
Oh, definitely.
Don't spare the rod.
You said don't spare the rod.
Don't spare the rod.
I think children do. And you always have to reel them in, like you said, where you have to make sure that you are constantly having a conversation with them.
It's all the time.
Constantly knowing where you stand. Because once you switch up, they know. Oh, I got her.
Yeah.
I got him.
I got a little leeway.
Look.
And they'll push that lead, like that saying is, you give them an inch, they'll take them out.
Oh, they'll take it all. And then, children know how to manipulate. That's the word. They know how to manipulate.
Straight up.
Because we knew how to manipulate.
Absolutely.
Right.
It wouldn't always work, but that didn't stop us from trying.
Right. You got to try sometimes. And if they're not going to try, how will they know that they're in the wrong or that they're in the right? How will they, I was peeping a whole bunch of things and I'm just like, this is wrong.
Madness.
This is wrong. And then like I was saying, I'm not going to overstep my bounds because maybe they just allow that. They ain't got nothing to do with me.
Nothing at all. You can't. And another thing is with parents, children, you can't get mad at your child for doing things that you do. And what I mean is, just for instance, if you smoke weed, if you at the club, if you TikToking, how can you get mad at your child for doing the same things? They see you do it. If it's okay for you, they figure, hey, it's okay for me. You can't get mad at that. So that's why we have to be responsible as parents and do the things that we want our children to be okay with.
Absolutely. I learned that late. I'm not even going to say it's late because you're always learning. So I don't think you ever learn anything late. But the music I listen to, right? So one of my favorite songs... I'm gonna expose myself. One of my songs that I really like to listen to, I don't have it on my phone or anything. When it's on the radio, I like to sing it. And that's that Ari Lennox, Pressure.
Lord
you know
have mercy.
what I'm talking about. But
Pressure.
Yeah. But so
when you can hear it coming from the back seat. That puts you in a new perspective.
Word for word.
Lord have mercy.
Said, she hit that, and Ava hit that too. I was like, oh, okay, we can't listen to that anymore.
Turn the station. Where the gospel music at? Straight up.
I said,
we need to praise God.
Woo!
Yes, goodness.
Woo! So it's what we do, y'all. Our children are watching us. They're seeing that we like it. They want to like it too.
Straight up.
Mommy and Daddy
want to like it because you like it.
Because we gonna have something in common.
Yeah.
Not that song.
Yeah. So, not half the songs that come on the radio.
Not half the songs, but yeah, it's music for me. And it was like, hold on, I gotta change because girl, you ain't experienced no life. What you talking?
You dog show. You sure don't know what pressure is.
I really enjoy that song. I think I can listen to it because I'm a married woman. Pressure.
That's something you do on your own time.
Yeah, I'm married.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about not when they're around.
Not right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, your own time.
I said I think I can listen to it because I am married. Not with them. That was hilarious. So our children
they sucking up all kind of lyrics.
Woo! Our children, like you said, the enhancements, the clubbing, the vulgar words that come out of our mouths, our language is picked up. And if we change our behavior, our children will absolutely change their behavior because they're not gonna have a choice.
Yeah. They'll follow that influence.
Any learned behavior can be unlearned.
Yeah, absolutely.
That we've witnessed that, but anything can be unlearned.
And I've also said this before: no one should be more of an influence on your children than you.
That's why I'd be like, I don't want to overstep my bounds.
Yeah, and if you're not on them full time, then they will find influence somewhere. And a lot of times it's at their school with their friends and their teachers, because now you even got teachers who's promoting madness. You seen the video where they got the woman has the little girl singing doggone what's that Sexy Red song?
Don't ask me because I've never heard any of the songs. So I don't know.
Ski Yee. I can't even say Ski Yee right.
I don't know. I've never listened to that.
Yeah, but you got teachers these days, and that's why it's important to have an understanding of who your child's teachers are as well. The principals, all of that, because they are influencing your children, and they'll come home with some stuff you know nothing about, and you be like, where you get that from?
So I think I had like a hypocritical moment, right? Because there was the children in the school in the little daycare, and she was like saying it was their time or whatever for them to have their little moments. And like all the children came up and she was recording them, and they did the Sexy Red and they did something else, and the girl was dancing and all this, right? And so I was like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. But then there was another video that I saw, and it was like the bus monitor had the little children singing the SZA song Snooze, and you thought that was cute. I thought that was funny, and I was like, oh my word, see how things
suck me into,
not even suck you in, but just like, oh, that was terrible because of Sexy Red and how she appeals.
Yeah.
But Snooze is cute because when I'm with you, right? And so, but that song is terrible.
That song is terrible.
It's like worse than whatever Sexy Red is singing on the same level. And they're not really saying anything.
They're not, it's different content, but it's still foolishness.
Right. And so I was like, I'm being a little hypocritical, but it was funny.
Yeah.
See, it's so much out there, you guys, and it's so much, and it's just how do you regulate things so that your children aren't off the rail completely, but they still need to be like, know what's happening, but not like what's happening. It's wild.
And that I was listening to Vody one day, and he was saying how you need to teach discipline in your child before you teach them how to read. Like discipline needs to be the first thing children learn, because there's no way that you can teach an undisciplined child
that right and wrong.
They need to know that first before anything.
No, don't let we have a tendency to laugh at something because it's cute, just like I was saying about the bus. That was cute because the little white boy was back there saying you. I thought that was funny. But children will do things and we laugh, and then they'll do it again and they'll think, well, you said no and you laughed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep doing it.
It's okay.
And then eventually, like we were saying at the top of the show, eventually they're going to be like, well, I was doing it and you laughed and it was okay.
Yeah. Now you want to switch it up on me. We need consistent parenting.
Give that, what y'all be saying, give that same energy. And that's how you stand on business.
That's how you stand on business.
I did it right.
Yeah, that was right.
Okay.
Because I don't even think King know what he's talking about.
He's standing on business.
Standing on business. Like my boy, what that dude name is? That fat dude. That fat light-skinned dude. Trusky.
Look at me. I'm just on some secular stuff today.
Boy, you on your secular today.
Yikes. I'll be back for Jesus next week. On Jesus straight up. No.
But yeah, we need to get back to OG parenting with consistency and full-time jobness.
Because it is a full-time job.
Yes, goodness. You got to be there. You got to show up here. You got to clock in every day.
It is a full-time job.
You got to clock in.
To show up. Show up when they wake up. Show up when you drop them off at school. Show up unexpectedly at their school.
Straight up.
Show up to all their games if they're in football or any type of sports.
Speaking of showing up unexpectedly at school, I seen a video where a guy popped up at his son's daycare, and the daycare people had his son in a dress. That man said, "Don't you ever in your life."
No, it wouldn't have been no "don't you ever." It would have been snatched out. I ain't paying y'all no more.
Don't you ever put my son in this crap again. They like, "Oh, I'm sorry." No, fool. Don't be sorry. Be careful, especially around mine. Don't put my son in a dress again. And his son thought it was all good because it's coming from a place of authority.
People you trust.
Yeah.
People you trust.
Yeah.
I'm with you every day. I trust you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do anything wrong to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But kids just don't know. It'd be some parents out here. I mean, it'd be some people of authority who will lead you astray. But parents, you can't be that person. You got to show up for your children every day. Clock in. Go ahead and get that clock in card and have you do it at work. You know what I'm saying? And show up. It's all about good parenting. We can't fall short in the parenting department because we see how these children are. We were once children, so we know how children are. So show up. Yeah, show out.
Get right so you won't have no children hollering about, "I'm hood and I stand on business."
I stand on business.
Don't. Let's raise these children.
And he ain't got no business and he ain't from the hood. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. We appreciate everybody who continues to show up for us because we clocking in. Like I just did. That fake behind sound effects.
I haven't clocked in 11 years.
But that's no here, no there. You're clocking in every day.
I'm clocking out right now.
But yes. If you ever feel generous and want to donate to the Stocker family, make sure you hit us up on Cash App. I think it's $Stocker family. You can do that. We appreciate it. It'll help us continue on our journey of YouTube, Facebook, all those platforms. And like I say, we sure appreciate y'all. But like always, it's love, peace, and soul.
Bye.
Like Soul Train, baby. Chill.